next guest takes on Justin Scoggins coming up here at UFC on Fox 26 in Winnipeg on December 16th. It is Tim Elliott joining me here on the program. Tim, how are you?
Great, man. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I appreciate it. It's early in the morning for you, Vegas time. I'm assuming you're drinking some coffee there.
That's right. It's no problem being early in the morning. I'm a morning person. I get up early. It's my favorite part of the day, especially being here in Vegas. The weather is beautiful. It's extra nice out right now, so I'm just soaking it all in.
So how early is early? Like I'm up at 5 every day. Are you up that early?
5:36 every day. I have a kid, so I try to be up before she is, and she actually left for a little bit while I was out. She did my first month of camp with me, and then she rode a cross-country in an RV with her grandparents, and then she actually gets here tonight, so she'll be back here with me until I leave for the fight. So it's good. I like to get up early before her and get some food ready and get the house a little bit organized. So, I'm a stay-at-home dad. I don't have a real job, so it keeps me busy. It gives me something to do, something to look forward to waking up to.
So you made a permanent move to Vegas. Is that the plan, or are you just doing it for this camp?
It wasn't permanent at first. I was doing Airbnbs, and then, Misha Tate let me use her condo for a little bit. That's where I'm at right now. I'm kind of in limbo trying to find a place. But this is the place I need to be. This is where all the fighters are at. This is where all the training partners are at. And, you can't use the UFC Performance Institute unless you're here. So I'm taking full advantage of that. And, that's been a huge part of this camp for me.
Excellent. How did that all get set up with you, linking up with Misha and everything else, like as far as you training at Xtreme Couture?
It's all through Robert Follis. He was my coach on The Ultimate Fighter. He actually cornered against me in 3 fights on The Ultimate Fighter. I never had him in my corner. I ended up fighting 3 teammates, and everybody was going to argue over having him in their corner. And, I'm not a guy to argue, so I just brought a couple of my teammates from the show. They cornered me in my fights. But then I've pretty much been with Robert Follis and Xtreme Couture guys ever since. A lot of guys complain about the UFC PI. They're thinking that, they should just pay the fighters more. But the thing is the PI is already built. It's here, and you can either bitch about it or you can get to Vegas and use it. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make the most of it. It's been a huge help and a big plus.
Yeah, I know a lot of fighters who use it. I've been talking to a bunch of guys, leading up to their fights, and they just love it, not just from the nutritional aspect, but also, the recovery stuff there. So it's definitely smart if you have the plan, if you can make it work to go and take advantage of it. Now, of course, you're coming off a loss here. So is Justin heading into this fight. You're coming off the loss to Ben Nguyen. What do you sort of take away the most from that fight now that you've had a chance to sort of assess the performance?
It's something we've known for a long time. I have some habitual things that I do in fights, and that carried me a long way. But guys are starting to read that. Guys like Ben Nguyen, young guys that study the game, that study film. He said it in an interview. He said he knows what I like to do. He said that they work this kick over and over again. I saw the interview. I worked not leaning to that side, and then sure enough, as soon as the fight started, my instincts took over, and I made a mistake. Not taking anything away from Ben. I think he's a great fighter. He's a smart kid. He's a young guy. I would much rather lose to a guy like that than some old guy like me that's been in the game a while. It's just little things. That's why I'm here working with Robert Follis. He's good at holding me accountable. I'm a little bit out there. I like to do stuff that's cool. I like to try to be exciting. And, Robert Follis is different. His game plan and his mindset is all do whatever it takes to win. Let's get the win. Don't worry about being exciting because, if you're fired from the UFC and you don't have a job, it doesn't really matter. So we're a good fit together. He kind of brings me down to earth a little bit. And I feel like I help him in the same sense as, helping guys that, are already a little bit, I don't want to say boring, but just, so focused on winning. Because when it's all said and done, it's an entertainment. We're here to put on a show and to entertain. So, I feel like I got a good fit here. I have a great group of guys. I can do 10 rounds here with guys all my size, and I just can't do that in Kansas City. So that's a big reason why I'm here is Follis and the PI, and just there's so many fighters here.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and it's definitely a good fit for you. Now, Robert has left what's called Xtreme Couture, I guess, but I know for some of you, he's working closely. Like I talked to Brian Caraway, who I know you train a lot with. He's been working a lot with him. How has that sort of changed? Because I know they said that Robert had left Xtreme Couture. How's that sort of working out for you?
Well, this is going to sound kind of selfish, but for me, it actually works out better. I got my small group of guys with Caraway and Follis, and we go to the PI and do our practices. And then, I also go to Xtreme Couture in the evening time because they have a bunch of guys. I go to the Xtreme Couture and I get my technique rounds in with those guys. And then also Tuesdays and Thursdays I get to go to Xtreme Couture and spar. They have a bunch of younger guys, a bunch of amateur guys, a bunch of fast guys, it's just nice. Follis may have left Xtreme Couture, but those guys still, they accept me coming in there, no problem. I mean, they know that I came up there for Follis, but I love all the guys at Xtreme Couture, and it's not that fraternity type group where it's like, oh, you left with him, you can't come back. They're not like that at all. Like, they welcome me in there every single practice. I want to go in there because those guys are helping me, and I want to go in there and help those guys. And I feel like the coaches over there, Eric and Coach Dennis Davis, I think they know that. Like, I'm not over there trying to hurt nobody, and I'm only in Las Vegas just to get better. That's it. I don't have an ego. So I feel like it works out great for me. I get the best of both worlds. I still get the knowledge and the MMA coaching of Robert Follis, and then I get to go over and work with the Xtreme Couture guys and Coach Dennis Davis, who shows a lot of stuff that I really like, cool stuff, funky stuff. Like me and him are on the same page length on shit that's cool to do. So it's a good mix. So like I said, I went to 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu last night and grappled. I bet I did 10 5-minute rounds, and guys just ragdolled me in there. Like they passed me around like I was currency. It was a humbling experience. It's just a different look, different jiu-jitsu guys. So that's a great thing about being in Vegas, man. I can go to 10 different gyms and learn 10 different things and, make 10 different friends. So it's been an awesome experience here.
What about the weight cut? I know you've been working a lot with Tyler Minton in the past. Is that the same thing for this fight? Because I know he's actually in Hawaii working with Max Holloway.
Tyler helped me a ton after the Demetrius Johnson fight, or after the TUF House. I hit 162 pounds. It took forever for me to get I lost my abs. I was all gelatinous and fat and weird. Just making weight 4 times in 4 weeks and fighting 4 times in 4 weeks, and then coming home and actually being able to eat and take on calories. I almost didn't make weight when I fought Demetrius Johnson. So, Tyler killed it for my next fight with Smolka. And then when I fought Ben Nguyen in New Zealand, traveling halfway across the world was the easiest weight cut I've ever had. So, I still use Tyler. I still use this method and this plan, but, I don't need him here standing over me. We have the system down. My weight is as good as it's ever been. It's easy for me to make weight now. I think that almost missing and hurting myself in the Demetrius Johnson fight really, it scared me. So I don't want that to happen again. It made a coward out of me at the weight cut. I was in tears. I was done. I didn't even want to fight. Like, I wasn't going to fight. Or I for sure wasn't going to make weight, but, James Krause and Follis, they made me make weight. I wasn't strong enough to stop them, and I knew that they weren't going to let me get injured. So I just put my faith in their hands. And that's a great thing about having good coaches, is all I have to do is focus on the fight. I don't have to focus on the diet because I have, coaches to take care of that. I don't have to focus on technique or game plan because I have coaches that are taking care of that. All I have to do is train hard, sit back, and do what I'm told, and everything should unfold, and I should get the win.
How do you feel like you match up against Justin Scoggins in this fight?
It's a tough fight, man. I tell people this all the time. He's super dangerous. When I fought Demetrius Johnson, I never one time for even a half a second felt like I was in any danger. I never felt like he was going to hurt me. I never felt like he was going to submit me. But Scoggins is not one of those guys. He has a huge danger factor. Big kicks, lots of spinning stuff, like scary shit. Like, nobody wants to get spinning kicked in the head. If you're fighting a jiu-jitsu guy, it's not the worst thing that happens is you're going to get subbed. You're not going to get spinning wheel kicked in the face. So I think he has a big danger factor, and I think he's he's a big guy. This will be the first time I'm fighting somebody bigger than me or my size. But I think it makes for an exciting fight. I think this is a good chance for me to get fight of the night, and that'll be my 3rd or 4th fight of the night bonus, and man, I love that. It makes my paychecks much better, and I feel like I'm staying true to myself when I go out there and I put it all out there and I get a big bonus.
Before I let you go here, one thing I wanted to ask you was you were on TUF 25, just a brief appearance there with the whole scuffle with Julian Lane. Were you surprised that he got in your face with that whole thing? When you were there for James Krause?
No, man, not really. Well, I'm a people person. People like me. I feel bad about that in the sense that I was there for James, and You know, I feel like I could have handled myself a little bit better. And, you know, definitely those guys, they were I know what it's like to be in that house. I was miserable in the house. I was ready to explode in the house, and I was winning. So it's hard for those guys to be in there. I know it is. I've seen it firsthand. I've seen my friends in there struggling in the house. You know, Zach Cummings went through the house and didn't make it, and James went through the house the first time and didn't even make it on the show. So the tensions were high, and I know those guys, man, that's their life. You know, whether they're good or they're not, or they're winning or not, it doesn't matter. Those guys are fighters, and fighting is their life. And you have somebody come in and you know, try to take something away from you in a house where you've given it everything you got. I understand where they're coming from. I completely get it. I've talked with Julian Lane since then, trained with him at practice. No hard feelings between either one of us. He's a passionate, emotional guy, and I'm the same way in a sense. So we have a little bit of similarities, me and him, and you know, all those guys. So no, I completely get it. I do feel bad that you know, the spotlight kind of got on me and off of James Krause. That's not something that a good teammate or a good coach would do. But, you know, it happened, and, you know, I've apologized to James, and James has let me know that that's all good. So, yeah, everything from that's fine. I feel like that's probably their best-rated show of the season.
Last question for you here. Did you know anything about Winnipeg before you took this fight?
I did not. I knew nothing about it.
You've been to Canada before, though, haven't you?
What's that?
I said you've been to Canada before, haven't you?
I have. James Krause fought Sam Stout.
That's right. Okay, yeah.
Winnipeg is always good to us. Krause got a double bonus in that fight. One of the best fights and the most fun I've ever had going into a corner. Man, the Canadian people, they love fighting. They sold that venue out faster than any other show they've ever put on. The venue was insanely loud. Sam beat a beloved Canadian, or James beat a beloved Canadian there, and then after the fight, people didn't care. They loved James. It was such a good fight. So I'm excited to go fight in front of a bunch of people that are real live fight fans, and that's what you get when you fight in front of Canadians.
Yeah, it's going to be an awesome show. It's UFC on Fox 26 coming up here December 16th. Tim, can't thank you enough for joining me here, especially before practice. Just remind people where they can get a hold of you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours, sir.
Check me out on Twitter at TElliott125 and on Instagram awkward_MMA. Just want to thank On It and Dethrone. Those guys have been with me for a while now, and man, I really, really love the Dethrone gear. They're kind of fading out a little bit in the MMA, it seems, but they always send me care packages, and man, it's nice to be able to throw on a fresh Dethrone t-shirt at the end of the day. Thank you, man.
Hello, fight fans. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe for even more interviews with your favorite UFC and Bellator fighters, including coverage from events with post-fight press conferences and open workout media scrums. And if you like this video, check out this other video to my right.